How's it going, everybody? Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I am Orlando Ruiz Jr. Welcome to another classic movie review. I'm a Clint Eastwood guy. I've been a fan ever since I was a wee lad, ever since the first time I ever saw Sergio Leone's classic spaghetti westerns, A Fistful of Dollars for a Few Dollars More, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And then I got older and I watched him in other classics like, of course, Escape from Alcatraz, and then later on movies like Unforgiven, In the Line of Fire, and then, the directing golden age of movies like Mystic River and Million Dollar Baby and Gran Torino. And yeah, Clint Eastwood is one of the greatest actors, one of the greatest directors, one of the greatest filmmakers, storytellers, whatever. He's one of the greatest. And so recently, he just had a birthday. He turned 96, and he has decided to hang it up and retire from making movies, which, it's kind of a bummer, but the guy has earned it. He's pretty up there in years now, and so, I completely respect it. Think it's a class act, very graceful move, and got me wanting to watch one of his films. And since I've already talked about some of them, and, Fistful of Dollars, I think I've done, and I talked about the first three Dirty Harry films, and so got me wanting to watch the fourth film. From 1983, Sudden Impact. This film takes the very memorable and iconic character of Inspector Dirty Harry Callahan, everyone's favorite San Francisco cop, out of the 1970s into the 1980s, with Clint Eastwood at the helm as the director of this film, where you have Sandra Locke as his co-star, who had co-starred with him previously in quite a few movies like The Outlaw Josie Wales, Bronco Billy. She's pretty good in this movie as a character of Jennifer, a character with a very sad and tragic past. Just like in the first three films, Harry is constantly pissing off his bosses because although he gets results, he's still doing things his way by bending the rules, and they're all about being politically correct and following the rules and all that. And so Harry's always been more of a shoot first, ask questions, never kind of guy. Due process? What's due process? Miranda rights? What's this reading people their rights crap? What? Warrants? What's a warrant? And so yeah, Dirty Harry is all about doing it, of course, his way, the dirty way. And eventually the bosses say, you gotta get out of town for a little bit. Go take a vacation. Stop harassing Frankie Pantangeli. Michael Gazzo from Godfather Part 2 pops up in this as a San Francisco gangster. Inspector Callahan does take his boss's advice and goes out of town for a few days, but not for a vacation, but to follow the trail of evidence of the new killer in the Bay Area, going around killing guys, shooting them in the head, and also shooting them in the dipsy doodle. This fourth installment was the highest box office grossing Dirty Harry film out of all five movies in the series, and also, in my opinion, the darkest of the four sequels since the original from 1971. That film was dark because it was dealing with something that was ripped from the headlines of that time from when the movie came out. In real life, the Zodiac Killer was terrorizing the Bay Area, and that storyline made its way into that first film in the form of the antagonist Scorpio. In this film, you're dealing with some heavy and disturbing moments of sexual assault. The way that Clint Eastwood handled and directed those scenes for some people might be a bit too much, because it is a bit disturbing and those scenes might make you feel a bit ill at ease. But that's the whole point, that's kind of the whole motivation of why the sick bastards that do this get their comeuppance and die the way they do. This being a Dirty Harry film, there is a good amount of action sprinkled in throughout the duration of the runtime to keep action fans pleased and happy. But in my opinion, the first three movies feel so much more action packed, so by comparison, this one does feel a bit light in the action department. Your action movies, your best action movies, are always going to be as good as their villains, and I do firmly believe that. And so in the villain department, this one does kind of suffer because there isn't really one ultimate bad guy to fear, because there is no bad guy to fear really. It's a group of degenerates. The main one in that group of bad guys is the character of Mick, the leader of this group of degenerates, played by actor Paul Drake. You also have Audrey Neenan as Ray. Her character is definitely the most evil one of the group. She definitely feels the most twisted, the most demented. She's definitely the Svengali of the bunch, the one that kind of manipulates the other ones to do some pretty downright evil shit. Once again, Lalo Schifrin comes back to do the music like he did in the first three movies, and I believe he does the music for all five films in the series. This time around, instead of that 70s funk, he goes for a more 80s pop sound, trying to keep some of that funk in there. Sometimes I feel like it sounds okay and it works, and sometimes it sounds a bit funny to be honest, but for 83, it pretty much gets the job done, and I do like his music overall. Plus, you got one of the great all time movie heroes with the character of Inspector Dirty Harry Callahan, played by one of the all time greats, Clint Eastwood, in one of his best roles, one of his greatest characters. I like this movie. It's not the best in the series. That honor goes to the 1971 original, but it's still a good Dirty Harry film. I give it 3 stars. From 1983, Sudden Impact. Dirty Harry Callahan, Inspector Callahan, with that big ass gun of his, ready to shoot people. No warrants, no, Miranda rights, no due process. That's not what he's about. Yeah, I know that stuff is illegal and, frowned upon. And, if you watch that on the news, you're just like, I don't want my cops doing that. But when it's Clint Eastwood and when it's a movie, it's just so freaking entertaining. And so, yeah, 1983's Sudden Impact. Wait, sorry, hold on. 1983's Sudden Impact. For those of you that watch, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. If you're into this kind of thing, if you're into movies, and if you're new to the channel, if you're into classics, and if you like what you see, subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications for more reviews from me coming out very soon. If you're a returning viewer, I very much thank you for your views and your supporting this little channel. I very much appreciate it. Please don't forget to comment, share, like. It always helps. And I'll see you guys in the next classic movie review. Everybody please take care of each other. Till next time, peace out. God bless.